Hello everyone, this is Andrew from Digital Gaudium, and today we're taking a first look at Lovely Planet, a game on which I'm currently in the process of reviewing. Lovely Planet is basically, if you play Call of Duty, that first training level you have to complete where you have to hit down all the dummies and shoot various ones and make it through the level as fast as you can. It's basically that concept expanded upon. With Katamari stylings, both in look and sound. There's even like that. So yeah, so it's a first-person shooter where you have to make it through the level and kill every dude on the way. It's definitely a game that you could say is probably built for speedrunning. There's a world record mechanic built straight into the game. Of which I only have one at the moment. So the game's style and sound really goes counter to how the game, what the game turns into, which is a really demanding and sometimes frustrating game that expects a lot from you in terms of accuracy and speed with the mouse. You can play this with the Xbox 360 controller, but I really recommend using mouse and keyboard purely because sometimes you're expected to make really quick movements and turn around, like do 180s like that, and it's really not feasible to do that with the Xbox 360 controller. It's just too slow. This game is also, there's situations like this where you just have to learn how the level works by trial and error, which some people may not be into, but that's how it is. Basically, Super Meat Boy-esque in that way. So you don't have to do too much platforming at this point, but you do end up having to do some pretty complex stuff. Like here, I'm just jumping between platforms and trying to dodge those things. As you see there, I parried his bullet and that kills him. These red blobs, they're not counted as enemies, they're kind of just more bad, fiery blobs that you just want to avoid. Sometimes you will shoot them to kind of get them out of your way, but they're not necessary. So I was behind the world record by about 4 seconds. I'll drop out to a layer level because this is the first stage. There's 100 levels in the game. 20 in each world. I'm currently up to the swamp, which is really difficult actually at the moment. I'll go to somewhere in the middle of the forest. That light glow that's lighting up, basically I have to get out of that within a certain time, otherwise it'll be game over. I shot neutral back there before. If you shoot them, it's game over. Those dudes with the hats, they shoot like homing bullets, so you basically have no choice but to parry their bullets. These square dudes up here, you can just dodge their bullets like this. But these guys you have to, because those bullets will just hit you sooner or later. But yeah, I really enjoy the game. It's really hard, but pretty rewarding when you do finally finish the level that you've been banging your head against for the last 20 minutes. There's definitely levels I've probably died on close to 50 times. Maybe even more than that. See there, that red stuff just kind of swamped me. The one thing I do wish it had was kind of friends leaderboards, so you could see how you're doing versus your friends, because at the moment all there is that world record time. There's nothing else to really compare against. Only a small percentage of the player base is really going to be able to achieve that. So It's only useful for some of you. It's the same music track for each 20 set of levels, and you'd think that would get annoying, but I think it's fairly well done that it loops pretty well and doesn't get too frustrating, although lately I have been turning the music off because there's sound cues. You're shooting that many people that you're kind of doing blind shots, and you need to listen to those, you know, the grunts they make when they die. And sometimes it's just better just to be able to hear that without the music. There's red stuff on top of that platform, so you have to shoot that off before you can jump on it. But if you're the type of guy who, you know, plays shooters in a really slow and methodical way, you know, slowly planning and making his way through, this might not be the game for you. I mean, I still recommend that you give it a go, but you can't really play this game like this at all. You have to constantly be on the move. In a level like this, you actually can, you know, slow down a bit, but in the future in future levels there are mechanics that force you to go through, because if you do not shoot certain things before in a certain time limit, you're just going to fail the level. So this guy can just... Oh, okay, there's an example there. Those you know, light bubbles, that's forcing me out of that area in a certain time. And these things you can only stand on for a few seconds. And it's definitely not going to be a world record. Oh, chat, that's actually pretty close. No, it's not. I'll quit out to where I'm up to at the moment. Just the swamp. The problem with the swamp is your visibility is really... It's a lot worse than it was in the past. If you saw that falling ball there quickly, that's basically an equivalent of like a skate disc. You have to hit that before it lands. If you don't, it's just game over like that. So a lot of in those type of situations, you really have to lead your shots because your bullets are actually kind of slow. Like that. There's just moments like that just feel really cool to pull off. And it's because it pushes you through that this level. God, this one was a real sticking point for me. You gotta hit that, and then there's a homing bullet coming for you while you're trying to hit the sides of those things. It's really hard. I think I've got to parry him first. No, missed that guy. Let's swim again. Obviously those spikes I have to jump over. It's pretty good about slowly introducing you into new mechanics. At the point I am, I understand everything I'm doing. It's just that it's a matter of actually doing it, because you just need really fast through. And you can see now why it'd be really difficult with a controller, because you're just making such fast movements. I'll see if I can finish this level before we sign off. And then maybe show where I'm up to. I'm pretty sure I missed something up back then. I missed him definitely. I'll go to the level I'm up to now. There's 100 levels, so there's one more world after this that I haven't unlocked yet. Here we go. I mean, there's just so many things at this point for me to parry. I don't actually know what happens if I just sit back. Okay, so there's you hear that, it sounds like two little gunshots. It's those balls falling, so that if I don't get there at a certain time, They're just gonna hit the ground and it's gonna be game over. This is really demanding a lot of you. And I've probably played the game for about 6-7 hours, so I'm pretty satisfied with how much I've got out of the game at this point, but there's still about 27 levels left, so obviously going to get harder. Sometimes it's just better to go to the spammy route. There is actually a stat for accuracy. I don't actually see how what you get out of having a better accuracy stat. The game hasn't explained that. I think the game doesn't really explain anything apart from the controls. You kind of just learn it through experience in it. I think that's enough of that. Yeah, so that's Lovely Planet. It's going to be available on Steam, on Mac, Linux, and Windows on August the 1st. He doesn't have a price set for it yet. And yeah, I'll link my review in the comments as I'm working on that. And yeah, at the moment I think it's definitely worth playing. I think it's really a kind of refreshing experience from your usual stuff that you're playing. It's really, first-person platforms aren't a common thing, so yeah, I think Lovely Planet's cool. This is Andrew from Digital Gaudium, and thanks for watching.